September 7th, 2021, I believe, is when Bitcoin officially became legal tender in El Salvador. President Bukele announced it, I think, in like May or June or something like that of 2021, that this was going to happen in September. September 7th is the day it happened. And then Bukele and the El Salvadorian government bought and started buying Bitcoin. That was part of their plan. And so back then the price was 50,000 or 55,000. And so a year later, when the FTX scandal happened, which I talked a lot on my other show, Political Vigilante. If you go into I have a Bitcoin/crypto playlist. You can watch that where I talk about all of the scandals and how Sam Bankman-Fried donated $30 million to Democrats, and that's why they weren't really prosecuting him that hard. So when the price of Bitcoin, took a hard fall and went as low as 16,000, and it was between 16 and 20,000 for a while. People were like, "Oh, Bukele's crazy. He blew it. He's gambling with the people's money. He doesn't know what he's doing." But he obviously understands the value of Bitcoin. So now that it's hitting an all-time high, that means the country of El Salvador, like every other Bitcoin holder, is in profit. And people are like, well, maybe he should sell it now and realize those profits. So here's a video that the government put out there that I want to play for you guys. Because, and Stacy retweeted this yesterday. So this is the video right here. Let me just get this queued up. Let me get this. It's a really cool video that was put out by the El Salvadorian government. It's in Spanish with English subtitles. Worth watching why El Salvador has never sold any of its Bitcoin. That's what Stacy put up. This was reposted by the president. That's why I like the president. He posted up.
Y El Salvador sigue ganando.
El Bitcoin está al alza.
Y El Salvador sigue ganando. Es más, si nuestro país decidiera vender sus Bitcoins ahora, además de recuperar el 100% de su inversión, obtendría más de $7 millones de ganancia. Entonces, ¿por qué no vende ya? Para entenderlo, hay que considerar 4 cosas. Primero, desde que El Salvador adoptó el Bitcoin como moneda legal junto al dólar, comenzó a generar otros tipos de ganancias. Miles de entusiastas empezaron a venir de todas partes del mundo. Esto ha significado un aumento en turismo, inversiones, generación de empleo y mejora de economías locales como Bitcoin Beach. Segundo, aunque la adopción aún es temprana, millones de salvadoreños ya han usado el dinero del futuro y cientos de miles aún lo hacen. Se bancarizó a un porcentaje de la población que no lo estaba. Y también se ha logrado que miles de salvadoreños ahorren decenas de millones de dólares en comisiones por enviar remesas. Tercero, el gobierno de El Salvador compró bitcoins, que ahora valen $7 millones más de lo que costaron cuando fueron adquiridos. Cuarto, con la minería de bitcoins, el gobierno genera ingresos adicionales al usar excedentes de energía geotérmica de los volcanes, que de otra forma se desperdiciaría. Ahora, en lugar de desperdiciarla, esa energía se usa como recurso para aumentar nuestra reserva nacional del activo digital de mayor valor en el mundo. Sin embargo, en todo este tiempo, los grandes medios internacionales y algunos medios locales han publicado miles de notas tendenciosas y negativas sobre la adopción del Bitcoin y sobre nuestro país, especialmente cada vez que el precio baja. Pero ahora que está al alza, todos se han quedado callados. Algunos hasta llegaron a decir que El Salvador caería en default por invertir en Bitcoin, es decir, que no tendría capacidad para pagar sus deudas, cuando evidentemente la realidad es todo lo contrario. Entonces, ¿por qué no vender ahora y obtener las ganancias logradas en dólares de los Estados Unidos? La respuesta es simple. La estrategia de El Salvador es a largo plazo. El interés por adquirir bitcoins no es venderlos a mejor precio, sino tener una garantía dentro de un futuro económico mundial incierto, donde reina la inflación, la devaluación y la impresión de monedas sin respaldo, y como ha sido desde hace unos años, también sin límites. Así El Salvador está cada vez más preparado para enfrentar una crisis económica mundial. Además, si bien el precio del Bitcoin es fluctuante, ha demostrado una tendencia al alza desde que fue creado. Su valor ha aumentado 1.400 millones% desde su primera transacción, cuando se adquirieron 2 pizzas por 10.000 bitcoins. Esto quiere decir que incluso bajo el análisis tradicional de su valor en dólares, mientras más tiempo se retenga, mayor será su valor a largo plazo. A diferencia de los expertos que tanto criticaron esta decisión, el gobierno salvadoreño no piensa en pequeño, sino que tiene una estrategia a largo plazo, una estrategia integral que va más allá de una ganancia de trading. Y lo está demostrando ahora que nuestro país no vende al alza.
Okay, so you can see there, I thought that explained it pretty well, why they're not selling. Because the main thing, and this is, this is the thing about Bitcoin, and this is the thing that Bukele and El Salvador understands, is it's a stay against inflation, right? So even though the price of Bitcoin fluctuates, and people say, oh, I've lost this, I bought Bitcoin at this price, but I've lost this much money. It's only a loss if you sell it, right? So if you bought Bitcoin at 65,000 3 years ago, you didn't lose money unless you sold it below that price. So that's why holding on to it makes sense. And what Bukele is doing, which the United States doesn't think in these terms, he's thinking long-term for the financial well-being and financial sovereignty of his nation. What he is doing is ensuring that Salvadorians will, long after he's gone, are going to be, 10, 20 years from now, this country is going to be one of the wealthiest countries in the world. The citizens are going to be very wealthy. They're just going to, even if you just own a little bit of Bitcoin, you're going to be very wealthy. So it shows that the long-term strategy is the smart play, and the short-term price fluctuations will create hysteria. And again, all these people that were so critical of him when the price of Bitcoin dropped 19, it was like he was nuts. He gambled people's money. I don't see any of these media outlets going, wow, we were wrong. Now El Salvador they're in $7 million of profit. That's a lot of money to a country like this that the gross GDP is about 28 billion. So, and it also showed that making Bitcoin legal tender is saving Salvadorians a lot of money, because there's roughly 3 million Salvadorians living abroad in other countries, mainly in the United States and Canada, and they send money home. And before Bitcoin, it would cost a lot of money to send money to using, Western Union or whatever. Now you're doing it, you can send large chunks of money for very small amounts in fees. So that's how it's working. And again, all these critics talking all this, they're aware. It's deafening. I put a tweet out there. I said, the silence from your critics, Mr. President Bukele, it's deafening. It's like they have nothing to say now. They have nothing to say because they can't. This is the thing. You can't change Bitcoin. Bitcoin changes you. And the evidence is there. You can't argue this evidence.